9, 8.
You're watching
7,
Experience Comic Culture and
6,
Sales.
5,
Streaming live daily
4,
to Facebook, YouTube,
3,
Twitch, and Twitter.
2, 1.
Boom! There you are. Thanks for joining us tonight. Our special guest just finished a successful Kickstarter. Also, her very first one since breaking out on her own to start her own brand new company. We'll be taking a look at Damsel. And joining us tonight on the auction block, we have John Stinsman. Evangeline is in its final hours for that Kickstarter, and we'll be taking a brief look at that as well. We also have with us Jyn Leonard and Ruben Rosas. Always great to have the whole gang here. Now the weather is warming up. Grab a drink, some snacks, and we'll be right back after this short intro. Hey there, everybody. Thank you again for joining us here on SketchUp. I see Stevie B's in the house. Kenneth Bird is there too. Thank you guys for joining us. Now, make sure you go ahead and hit that follow button. Help us to increase our followers here on the show so that way we can continue to bring you wonderful content all week long, like Nick Brucci's The Original Art Show every Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern. And of course, we've got giveaways, and we've got some really, really good ones tonight. If you want to get on that, put in #EXP Damsel, just like you see there from Short Circuit, Stevie B, and Kenneth Bird. They're already in there early. Okay. Now, Mog is here. She's having some technical difficulties. Hopefully, she'll be able to work that out, and she'll get on here. But tonight, let's bring out. And I hope I say this right, but correct me, Murphey Luedke.
Hi.
Did
Yeah,
I say that right?
I just go by Murphy when it comes to like writing and creating, simply because no one can say my last name.
How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing awesome. How are you?
Good. And you just finished that Kickstarter only just like a couple of days ago, and that went really well. You had a very good string of some very good talent working on the covers there. I saw that, and I'm glad to see that you had like a good start there. Right? What is it that motivated you to do this on your own? Because you were with Elite, right?
Yeah, I was with Merck Publishing for 4 years, and I've ran like 30 Kickstarters, whether as like the manager or the shipper, or just as some part of these campaigns for everybody else. And I kind of hit the point where it was like, why am I not doing this for myself yet? So that was my first attempt at going out and doing a Kickstarter that's mine. We had 411 backers, which is like,
whoa, yeah.
I'm really happy with how it's going so far.
Yeah, so when you're getting numbers like that, it's you do start to question that, we all like to. Well, most people would like to work for themselves, and we definitely want to continue more with that. But let's bring out the other artists that I have on here, so that way they can get on the auction board. First up, we have Ruben Rosas. How are you doing, buddy?
Hey, doing good. Thanks for having me again.
All right, always good to have you. And what are you going to be working on today that these guys are going to be able to bid on?
So I remember I had this X-Men #1 sketch cover laying around, so decided to bring it out with the whole X-Men 97 hype right now. I want to be drawing Goblin Queen.
Goblin Queen. And what's going to be the starting bid on that?
We'll go with the normal 60.
Ooh, okay, going on 50 on that. So if you want to place a bid on that, Ruben will get started, and we will take those bids in the comments with increments of $5 for bids. We also have returning with us fan favorite Jyn Leonard. How are you doing, Jyn?
Hey, doing good.
Okay. And what are you working on?
Well, since Murphy's on here, I thought it would be kind of fun. It's May, so mermaid. How about some Miss Meow as a mermaid?
Okay. And what would you like your starting bid to come in at?
We'll start at 50.
50, going right on there. Okay. All right. And the last artist that we have joining us is John Stinsman.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, John.
I'm
How's
a
it going,
surprise
buddy?
guest, but only a surprise to myself as of yesterday.
I'm very sorry about that.
That's okay.
I keep a spreadsheet of everything that's going on for SketchUp, and so I don't know how I missed it, but must have been.
Look, if I
during
didn't
that
break your balls
time.
about it, I would feel like I left something on the table that I should have done something with. So I had to break your balls. Now I had to break your balls.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anytime. Anytime. Buddy.
And what are you drawing tonight?
Tonight I am drawing what could be considered to be Shauna, the She-Devil from Marvel, or you can make it any sort of jungle girl character you'd like because they all look the same. So you could just say this is so and so, this is so and so.
All right. And what is your
That's how we're
starting
doing
bid?
it.
What is your starting bid, John?
65 as usual.
There we go. Okay. Okay, we are set with that. And do we have Mog? Is Mog joining us? Is she in now?
She's right there.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So, Mog, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can
Okay.
hear you.
Okay.
I can hear.
Yeah.
That's good.
Wow,
What are you drawing, Mog?
miracle. Damsel?
Damsel. Okay, there we go. And the starting bid on that will also be 50. I'll call it at that. All right, so our bids are coming in low tonight, so that'll give everybody a chance to get some really good art tonight. And I want to thank you guys for supporting us, because a lot of the stuff that these guys do put out does get sold, and we do appreciate that. Okay, so who's trying to break my balls now? So much laughter for your comic books and other comic books too. Thank you so much, including Moose. Thank you, couldn't all the young ladies. Thank you so much for what. Thanks, Kenneth. Appreciate you coming and supporting the show every night. Okay, so let's get back to Murphy. And you started your company. It's called Dreamhouse.
Yep.
And it's mainly a promotional company. Is that correct?
Say that again.
Is it mainly a promotional company, or are you going to be more of a publishing company?
So I have a habit of taking on a ridiculous amount of work. Dreamhouse Comics, Dreamhouse Publishing is actually my second company that I just started in February. My actual full-time job is my first company that started back in October called Crowd Control, and that is I do marketing and consultation for creators and artists and retailers to help them either build sites or do Kickstarters, or what has become the bane of my existence is doing Meta and Google advertising, which is a monster all on its own.
Wow. Okay. That's so what is it do you think that you're able to do well for somebody that comes to you at Crowd Control?
Most people know me for Kickstarter. Like I said, I've done over 30 campaigns. I've raised over $2 million over the scope of all of the different people that I've worked with. But I've actually found most of my time since October has been helping people create their own stores on Shopify and help build their audience through a direct sales. And a lot of people Whatnot has really given a ton of people the opportunity to start their own business and get in front of new fans and new eyes. And I find that a lot of people, after they've spent so much time on Whatnot and eBay, start getting really tired of the fees and all the different things that are taken out of their pockets. And so Shopify is kind of where I spend most of my time, and how I help people the most is by building them a storefront.
Wow. Okay. So that's kind of interesting to hear, because I hear also some people saying that they still like going to eBay, or eBay is starting to get better than Whatnot. How do you feel about that?
eBay just started their eBay live system, which I've seen a lot of people switching over to, or at least trying out. There's Whatnot has just become so like there's so many sellers and there's so many new sellers, and it's very much a lot of people can just get in a trap of reselling or buying to resell and then selling to buyers that are reselling, and you see a lot of that kind of like endless cycle. But there's some really great people out there. I always recommend going and following artist accounts. Jamie Tyndall's got his account. There's tons of great stuff to be found on there. It's just you gotta just make sure you're going for the reputable people. I personally use eBay for reselling comics, and I love it. It's so easy, and if it's stuff that I already have like hanging around, I don't care that eBay's going to take their fee, because that ad was put out there to somebody that I never would have found on my own.
Mm-hmm. Okay, interesting. Because there's a lot of I think it's kind of getting like a little bit convoluted in a way, in trying to figure out like where to go. Because then you also have like people that kind of like do it independently, like Clan McDonald, right? They just do it, straight off of their Facebook, and seem to be doing pretty good with that.
I mean, that was kind of where the whole live sale phenomenon really started. Back when before Merc Publishing existed, I was Jamie Tyndall's convention manager. And then when all of a sudden all the conventions were gone, we were scrambling to figure out what to do. And so that's like we created a Jamie Tyndall live sale Facebook group that, within a couple of months, we hit like 1,000 people. We do a monthly sale, and it was a big event, and it was really fun. And I'm love the sound of my own voice. And so like doing live streams and things, I was made for it. And I'd get on there and like sing silly songs, and it was just, it felt really personal. And that's something that you don't quite get with Whatnot, because with Whatnot, people will just come in and out of the channel so quickly, because they're just, they're looking for they're jumping around so quickly that it's much more impersonal. I always loved the Facebook live sales, and Clan McDonald's a great example of, he's been doing that for years. And he's got a great reputation with buyers and artists.
Yeah, because the other thing that I noticed for me, right, is like when I'm watching at Whatnot, it seems like they're trying so hard to push the product out as quickly as they can, and just going through it, one at a time, to try and show as much as they can, and try and get as much sales as they can. It becomes such a rush, and for me it's disappointing, because I can't really get into the product or get to know like what the product is. Some of it is obvious, but some of it you want them to spend like a little more time, and it's just not happening there. So with the Facebook one, I do like that. It's a little more relaxed, right? Mm-hmm. Even watching people when they do their own shows and stuff like that, it seems to be like too much straight on business. I think sometimes a little too much.
What's the difference between an auction and a sale? Like it's kind of just like it's baked into the two different strategies of an auction is always meant to be quick. Like, if you don't get it, the next guy's going to get it, and you got to bid up. And, that's like the whole strategy is based on.
Yeah. That is the strategy.
Right. You got to get this now, versus, a live sale, you can kind of show everything and talk a little bit more about it. And, it's definitely a much more just calm, cool situation.
Yeah. When eBay first started up back in the 90s, right? And it was amazing. It's like we had never seen anything like that. So many things were being sold. So many ridiculous things were being sold. I saw kitchen sinks that were broken being sold. Lawnmowers that were broken being sold. But they were all getting into the hype of just being able to bid on something and let it go crazy, right? And then saying that they won it, even as ridiculous as a broken lawnmower.
I think Whatnot was kind of like the ancestor to Whatnot was do you remember those websites I feel like they got really popular in like the early 2010s, where you'd go on and they were auction sites, and there'd be things like cameras and PlayStations and like all these really high dollar items, and
Yeah.
they would promote it like, oh, come in and use, starting bid is $1, and oh, I got this PlayStation 4 for $32. And it's like I remember going in like once and like trying it out, and it's like it was so skeevy, and I just feel like Whatnot is kind of it took Whatnot is better, firstly, in that you're actually buying from a person who you can hear their voice, and they're there on camera. But that definitely feels like it's kind of the same whole like space as that was back in the day, of just like start low and you think you're going to get it low, but like the whole point is to get that auction up as high as possible. And that's the truth that everyone needs to remember if you're in there bidding on stuff. And it's easy. I had to cut myself off from Whatnot because it's easy to get in and be like, oh, that was only $3. You bought 12 things, and all of a sudden it's like,
Even now, because like when COVID came in and we were all stuck at home, and everybody was going online to try and do what they can, and some people were doing like auctions, right? And I was watching a lot of that because there wasn't much else to do, right? And I got caught in a buying frenzy. Oh, I'm going to bid on that, and it got to the point where Mog has, if you're spending a lot of money, and we're not making a lot of money right now. So I had to like control myself, but it is easy to get caught on it. And I think with what's going on now, because it's like a combination of, it's like QVC, that craze from the 80s of that buying shopping network. And now it seems to have gotten a little bit more personal with with the formats that we use now to try and sell to people. So there's that more of a personal touch, I think, that gets us suckered in to do the buying and stuff. So with
like such a larger scope, like a lot of the people that you saw on those shopping networks, like they were still kind of the same type of seller. They were big personalities, they were attractive, and they'd like harp on that, buy now, buy now, buy now, and it worked then, and it's the same exact strategy now.
Pretty much, yeah. Because look at the terms that we're using. We use like claims and buy it now. Those phrases have still stuck. And it's to create that sense of urgency that if you don't, it is going to be gone. If you don't,
it's claim now instead of call now.
Yeah. And JD writes, that's where Nick Barucci got his start from, selling comics on QVC. Yeah. And hopefully he'll be able to do that here. That's what we're hoping for. Yeah. And so you've got that with crowd control, and now you're going into Dreamhouse, where you're publishing your own. And Damsel was the first one that you did. Was that a project that you had in the back of your mind for a long time that was kind of like building up, or was that something you just thought of at spur of the moment?
Yes. So this is an idea that I've had since I was 18 years old, and I was a server at IHOP from like 8 p.m. to 3 a.m. And I was I lived in a suburban neighborhood, so it was mostly dead except for when the parents would come over from Chili's after they closed. So I had a lot of time to just kind of hang out, and I would like draw little comic strips on like receipt paper. And there was one night I was watching Shrek 2 and they do a flashback. They do a flashback to Fiona in the tower, just looking out and doing the like, kind of sad, position. And I just like had thought to myself, like, man, I would go crazy if I was stuck in a tower for 18 years. It just over the next like 15 years, it's just kind of that turned into like a little thing that I would just do little doodles on when I was there at IHOP. And then I kind of kept like forming, and it was like probably like 5 years later, I started writing it as a movie script. I was really inspired by the story of the woman that wrote Juno, like just writing a script and then it getting picked up. I was like, I can do that. And I wrote like 25 pages of it, and then just it didn't go anywhere from there. But I did a bunch of research at that point into Arthurian fairy tales and like classic Grimm fairy tales. And so when I went out on my own last year, I actually have another story that I was going to start with. That was going to be like our big launch. When we started Merc, it was like, we're going to create this whole universe, and we started with 2 different books, 2 different series from the get-go, and then we added a third within the first like 6 months. Like it was this huge thing, and I wanted to do that again, and I do still want to do that again. But I had to kind of like stop and say like, okay, that's a big project that's going to be very expensive. Like, you have this idea. Why would you go and like try to start something from scratch when you have this thing that you already know, like the ins and outs of the characters and the world and the story? And so I pulled out those books that I was doing research with, and I sat down and I wrote out the whole series plot line. And then I got the script was like the fastest I'd ever written the script before. It was like 8 hours. I sat down beginning, end, and I kept reading it and reading it and rereading it, and just feeling like, I feel like this is so good, but I know that I'm biased, but I gave it to my editor, and I gave it to my artist, and like everyone was getting really excited about it. And I truly think that this is like probably the best thing I've done so far. And I can't wait for people to read it. And I just really hope it's different than what I've done before. I did superheroes and superheroes and like action, and this is very much like comedy fantasy. I'm taking a lot of, I'm a huge fan of Tim Burton, so it's like my tagline I tell people is like it's Monty Python style with a Tim Burton twist, and that's like I'm just really excited about it.
Yeah, well, I don't really know you too well, but what I have seen in the past is that when somebody has a passion and they can write that, fairly quick like that, and other people are getting excited, then there usually is something there, right? Because it seems like you're able to put the pieces together very well, or else your story wouldn't have been written so quickly. And a lot of writers will say that usually happens is because you're very familiar, or your characters well, that the story is pretty much like writing itself.
And that's very much what this felt like. The first time I wrote a script was in 2020 for Miss Meow #1. I was really proud of it at the time, and then once we had put out like another like 8 issues, I went back and read it and thought like, oh, this isn't good. So we actually when Merc signed on to Lunar Distribution, we like completely rewrote and redid that issue. But that was like 18 months, apart. And then from that 18 months to now, like 2 years later, I can just feel like I understand comics and storytelling so much better now than I did then. And then this is the first time that like I'm telling my story. I'm not telling the stories of another character that someone else made, and I'm kind of like creating that story around it. Like these are my characters. These are people that I've known for 15 years, and that like it makes a big difference, right. On just having that just knowledge of every piece of that. It's not hard. There's creativity to it, but it's creativity that I've spent years on already. So it's like I've already done the hard lifting.
Right. When you were working on that through those years, were you just focusing on the story, or were you trying to develop the world as well, or and little things about your characters, like does he like peanut butter or not, or is he against this issue or not? How deep did you go?
So when I sat down to start writing the story as a script back, that was probably like 10 years ago at this point, I was really, really focused on the world building and creating and taking the tropes and like figuring out how I could use those and to not only be comedic but also to like drive the story forward. And at that point, outside of the princess character, everyone else in the story was actually a version of characters that already existed. So there was, there was the wizard was I'm totally blanking on his name, but they were all different. They were all versions of characters that already existed.
Right.
And when I came back to it this time, that didn't even cross my mind. So the main character, whose name is Katrina, her I've known for a long time, but the prince Tristan, the king, who's going to be like another like major figure in the story. They're actually both brand new, and I was getting to know them as I was putting together these kind of final steps. And really, I've always known what the world was since doing that research then, but I could never figure out how I wanted it to end. I had a few different like options and ideas and kind of like ways that I could take it. But once the ending, like once I found that, like I feel like that's the better term. I didn't come up with the ending. I found it. I found the one that went like, this is what makes it all tie together. And that's, and I didn't do that on my own. I have the art director that is in charge of the team, Lucas Aurelia. He's my partner in this. He's my creative partner in the story. And he really helped me kind of tie in those final details that really just kind of made everything else make sense once I started like coming up with personalities and places and story, kind of like the different issues each leading up to that final finale.
Wow. Okay. Sounds like I mean, 15 years, you've had a lot of time to think about it as well and develop it. Sounds really, really interesting. So let's go around the room and take a look at what everybody's got so far on the board. Let's start with John.
That's what I got so far.
Whoa, that's a lot already. Okay.
Wow.
He is looking for a bid of 65 on that. So
that's
you
right.
put that in comments.
And if then, Mike is here, just a real quick message to Mike. I still have finished Mike's Evangeline from, I don't know if it was last week. I think it was last week.
Whoa.
So this is going to go out to him.
That's,
but if he does bid on this one, free shipping on this, because you already paid shipping on that. Easy,
there you go.
Easy
Okay,
peasy, my friend. Easy peasy.
Okay. And just to let everybody know, okay, so yeah, I've fallen behind on the shipping, but I will be catching up this weekend. Okay, even though we've got a show to do, I will catch up this weekend and ship everything up before we go to Phoenix. Okay, so just letting everybody know. All right, Jyn, let's see what Jyn has on the board. Good to see you, Mike. Welcome back.
Oh,
pulling out a lot of color this time.
Look at the colors.
Very nice.
There's colors.
I love working on that.
Laying down some colors, guys.
You even have your nails to match.
Huh?
I see you even have your nails match.
Yeah.
wow.
There you go.
Damn.
Nice.
I didn't catch that. Really good on it.
All right.
And I agree with John that tone paper is always nice.
All right, now Jyn is looking for a bid of $50. Okay, whoever wins this is going to be her first colored one. You'll get a chance to get off of us. Sketch
Very rare. I don't do color.
Nice. All right, let's take a look at Ruben. And we are still looking for Ruben's bid for 50 as well.
Yeah.
Goblin Queen.
Then that's a lot of cleavage there. That's almost 100% booby right there.
Oh yeah.
Like 5% coverage.
A lot of love to give away. Yeah.
I know that's been the request that I've gotten over the years. So I've kind of gotten used to it.
Yes.
Comic
fans know what they want. They know what they want.
You know, I gotta say, Ruben, you really are the best breast man. Like seriously, the best breast man. And John, I think I like your ass. So, I mean, not yours.
I appreciate it. Would you like to see it right now? I'll stand up for you. Oh,
Yeah.
you mean the ones?
No, I don't want yours. No,
I'm sorry.
I'm
I
talking
got
about
confused.
Hey, John, when our powers combine.
Mash them up, mash them. All right, let's take a look at Mog before we go on break.
Oh.
Whoa.
Wow.
Hey.
It looks like a dangerous. That's a what is it now? A damsel?
Uh,
That damsel's going to rip your teeth out, rip your face
yeah,
off.
I've got like I was looking at a medieval helmet. It's called
Yeah,
a
it's cool.
foliage helmet. So the front is made of like almost like a foliage type. The visor. So for her, she kind of like lifted it up. So you're gonna see some filigree here.
Oh, I see. Okay,
All right.
yeah.
And then,
Now I see
yeah,
it.
but that's really interesting. One of the medieval, because I like to research armors and for fun. And I saw one that was kind of unique where they put a
Yeah,
foliage
it's
type.
really cool looking for sure. Absolutely, no doubt.
All right, so we're looking
like
for a
it.
bit of $50
Thank you.
on that. Okay. And on that note, stay with us. And remember, if you want to get in on the free giveaways, put in #EXP Damsel, and we will be right back after this commercial break.
What do you call the place on Spider-Man's wrists where the webs come out? His website. I hate myself for writing that joke, but you'd make me feel so much better if you just visited our website. We have links to our merch, new release lists, all the show info, and so much more. TheEXPLive.com.
So, the show is called The Geek Chat. And really, there's just a couple of geeks.
I'm Rich.
I'm Dez.
And we are your hosts for this weekly guide into comic bookery and all the geeky stuff that goes with it.
And that pretty much says it all. They talk about the latest movies and shows.
Okay, I'll be completely honest with you. Overall, D+ movie.
So the end. Did you know who that is?
That's She-Ra, yeah.
Yes.
The new #1 comics of the week.
We rep Samuel Jackson and we rep Mace Windu.
I passed on this. I was like...
No regrets.
No regrets. I really wanted to like this book. I really did. Like, I really did.
And just chat with each other. And with you.
Oh, Daniel says, I dosed off with the first one. I have zero interest in the Joker Harley ship, not Harley herself. Enjoy, not for me. Yeah, this movie's gonna be rough for me to sit through, I'll be honest.
The Geek Chat, Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Just a couple of honest geeks.
Let's be honest. Come on.
And that is why people watch us, because we're honest.
Giving their honest opinions.
And the thing you always have to remember about the internet is everyone has an opinion, and they all suck.
Part of the experience. Ask your local comic shop to add Battle Quest comics to your pull list today.
Welcome back, everyone. I must say that Damsel is a very beautiful looking book. And you had some really good artists that worked on the book. Sora Song, Al Garza, John Wells, which I really like that cover that he did. Okay. and we're looking at
That
that.
was actually, I was brought out as a guest to Arctic Comic Con, and
Right.
he was another guest there, so he whipped this out for me, and I love it. It's so pretty.
So was he a last minute addition to your campaign?
Well, so he's actually one of the guys that I work with. I manage his Shopify store, and
Oh, okay.
yeah, and I finally got the confirmation for the con about 2 weeks ahead of us leaving. It's like, hey, Chad, you want to do a cover for this? And he's like, oh man, all right. When do you need it? Monday? All right, got it. And he picked that out.
Oh, that quick! Wow.
That man is great under pressure.
Wow. Now, how do you like a lot of people will do these Kickstarters, and there's a lot out there. They'll have like some will have only like 1 or 2 covers, and some will have like a dozen, right? Do you consider that a big factor? And how do you decide how many variant covers you should have on a Kickstarter?
So I went into this campaign with 5 covers, which if you're planning a Kickstarter for a comic and you're doing especially single issue comics, this is definitely for single issues and not for like a graphic novel. They're very different in the way that you would structure a crowdfunding campaign for them. So for single issues, I recommend 5 covers seems to be like a really good sweet spot where you can have a basic offering of like your regular, this is the, cover, come in and get it for, $10, $12, $8 sometimes, depending on your budget and what you can afford for printing. And then having some special covers with, pinup is obviously a huge market on Kickstarter. So having, we've got our pinup cover by Sebastian Gonzalez was the one of the top sellers. And then having just the variant covers just gives more of an opportunity for someone to come in and say, well, like if I don't like this one cover, like maybe I'll pay $5 or $10 extra for this other cover that I do really like. That as far as, so I didn't plan on having any more covers on the campaign. When I launched, that was everything that I had. I launched with all of it. And we got funded. We got funded in the first week, I believe. And so, we're coming up on the end of the campaign and I just started like, I wanted to really make that last, that big push at the end. So we got Ali Garza did a cover for me, and we have the other Micah is a brand new artist. That was their first cover, which also feels great just to do that for somebody. And it really helped. We went from I think we were at like 9,000, and then in the last week we bumped up to 13.
Yeah, 13 something. Yeah.
13.
So,
I knew it in my heart for like the first like.
That's like about a 50% jump from like.
Yeah, it was.
That's a big increase in the last week. Yeah.
Well, I tell people all the time, your first weekend and your last weekend are your biggest days. And that's where I always try to really, really focus on, like, really get that big launch. You want to try to get as many followers ahead of time because, those followers on the campaign are really good. That's a good, kind of test group for how's your first weekend going to go. And if you have 100 followers at the beginning, you'll probably have 200 followers at the end. Like it's pretty normal for that number to like about double depending on how much you get out there and market it. And like, does Kickstarter give you a project we love, which they didn't for me, which I was not happy about. I was surprised, man. But as far as doing like 10 covers all with variants, that really comes down to your budget. If you're going to do 10 covers on that campaign, you got to make sure every one of those covers is making enough for that to be worth it. Right. If you have 10, start with 5. If the campaign goes really well, you can keep adding them in, but if you launch a campaign with 10 and then, the campaign doesn't go where you had hoped it would, those are there now. Those are married to that Kickstarter campaign. So I always try to leave some wiggle room.
Right. And how about like all the other things that you can like add in there, like stretch goals and reward goals and coming up with the merchandise for that? Do you think it's really that helpful, or is that something that you should spend a lot of time and energy on, or is that just to, just to create like a little bit of bells and whistles? How much does that really help?
The stretch goals work. They're not. I don't think they're like. I know a lot of people get excited about the free stuff, but I don't think a majority of people on Kickstarter are there for the free rewards. It's kind of a nice bonus. So choosing those to be things that are going to be like the most widely enjoyed. Stickers are like, I think the top tier thing that you can do for a Kickstarter reward, because like everyone has some place they can put a sticker. Bookmarks are great because you're selling a book, you want them to read the book, and you can also get those done really cheaply. And then as far as like add-ons and merch, I didn't do prints on my campaign initially. I wanted to keep it small and tight, and really just like focus on the comics. And then I had a couple people ask for it, so I put them on my website, like, you can get them here. And then people kept saying like, no, we want them here. And so I broke down, I went and I added prints, I added a bundle, and that did make a difference. It helped bump up a few $100s. And you just don't go crazy with the add-ons. You don't need to have prints and buttons and enamel pins and t-shirts. And I actually don't recommend t-shirts for nearly anybody, because they are, unless you're doing like print on demand and getting exactly what you need, that is so expensive and space consuming. But there's certain ones that if you go and look around Kickstarter, like art prints and backstock are the best things that you can offer if you have backstock like that. That's a really great way to, if you're introducing someone new to something that is an ongoing series, like you have to offer those back issues to get people involved in the whole story.
Right. It's also good to cross market with other maybe stories that you might have, if that's available to you. That's a good way of doing that. So that way, it's you're introducing your backers to something else that they can sink their money into. But yeah, t-shirts, I know they cost a lot. Even with the pins and stuff, they may not cost that much, but I always look at it as like, how much of that are you going to really go through, and then what do you do with the rest? Because I see a lot of it. People just start like giving them away. So, oh yeah, here I got some extras of these. I'll pass these out. Yeah,
it's nice to have something, something extra that you can throw into shipments or bring with you to a con. That stuff is great as little bonus items. It's not just for Kickstarter.
Right.
You just gotta be careful on the costs. If you add a push goal for every $1,000, like, make sure those push goals aren't costing you $1,000.
You got to get it back some way. Yeah.
Yeah.
And hopefully you get it back fast enough. It's not something you want to get back like 10 years later.
I mean, I'll be happy in 10 years, but the 10 years until then are going to suck.
Yeah. All right. And we do have a bid on Jyn and John. Thank Mike again for that.
Always appreciate you, brother. Always.
Yeah, that guy's he's a buying powerhouse, buying everybody up.
Hey, he's building up a nice art collection. Not wrong with that.
I know he's got a whole wall of everybody's here that he can put up.
Yeah, he's got to show us what he's got one of these days.
Yeah.
Sure, that's a good idea.
For a few minutes, and let him show off his collection.
I've been like thinking about that too, that I should bring some of these guys on just so that way we can see what they look like and see like some of the stuff that they have. Probably our stuff is on their walls.
Yeah, it's cool.
Plus with the comic books or the giveaways and all that. What do you guys think if I do a show like that?
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Like post it on Instagram, post it on Facebook with like hashtag what was it, EXP?
Yeah, EXP sketchup or the experience
during the show.
Yeah, and some of them do that. So it's nice to see that when they do that, it does help to promote the show. And that's
for sure. That's cool.
I'm good. JD says I'm good. Ain't nobody want to see my mug. I don't know, JD. I keep trying to get you out, and you keep telling me yay, and then you cancel at the last minute, dude. What's up with that? And so, Murphy, what's your plans for the future here?
There's a lot going on. So I'm working on Damsel. The first issue is in full production. And that is going to be it's a 5-issue series. If the Kickstarters start picking up steam, I have plans to make it 6 issues and make that finale a 2-issue storyline. I have a handful of people that I'm working with for upcoming Kickstarters. I have one that just ended that was super fun to work on. It was Super Kaiju Rock and Roller Really Fun by David Hedgecock that just ended. He's got another book that we're working on, bringing that to Kickstarter. And then I can't say much about this, but I actually just signed on last week to be an editor-in-chief again with a new publishing company that is just starting up. We have some. I'm really excited about it because it's not like a publishing company that is the one universe that all the stories are within that. It's kind of we've got one that is like secret agent, like hot women and they're like following them on their adventures, and then we've got another one that's this like kind of thriller drama that's following a veteran that fought in World War II, and they're both really great stories. And I'm super excited about it. We're going to be doing a big launch at New York Comic Con this year, so that is. I'm happy to be back in the driver's seat with the making more comics. It's all I want to do. All I want to do is make comics, and that's it. I'm happy. I'm happy to be working on more new projects every week. It feels like
that's a lot to handle because you got Crowd Control, you got Dreamhouse, and then this as well, and that's going to keep you really busy. When can we see? You just finished issue 1 of Damsel. When are you thinking about launching the second issue? How soon would that be?
So we're planning on, as of right now, it's looking like we're going to be able to stick to the schedule of shipping issue 1 in August. I am going to have the issue 2 Kickstarter follow link up when we're shipping that campaign so that people can go and follow that. So hopefully by the end of the year, we'll have issue number 2 in fulfillment. And then my plan is to kind of pick up steam a little bit. And I want to have the series done by the end of next year.
All right. Stevie B writes, being retired, my body is rejecting the thought of all things Murphy is active in.
Before I moved to St. Louis to work full time with Jamie and do Merc and all of that, I was a gig girl, I did conventions for Jamie. I had a gig doing this a sales model position with this Korean clothing company that would go do wholesale conventions. I go out to New York or Vegas, go do those. I just found jobs. I love doing something different every week. And it feels like I'm kind of back into that space of getting to really just not do what I want, but really be I get to choose my job today. And that's just a really nice feeling. And I'm really lucky to have met a ton of people in the industry that want to work together. Or they have a new project that, or they need help with something. And that's I'm so happy to be the person that people are coming to help with that stuff.
And it's probably because there's a high energy around you that can be very contagious. And I think people kind of feel that and see that. So you become like a hype person in a way where you can help them with whatever project they're on. So that gives you great movability across the board to almost get into anything that you possibly want to, if that's what you want to, and get in there and work that position.
I would say I'm not an artist. My artistry is creative problem solving. I'm really good at being in a hard situation and being able to kind of see different ways that it can be solved. And
right.
I am also ADHD, JD. So like if things are like calm and going well, it's so much easier for me to get stressed than when things are like moving quickly and there's like, okay, problem comes up, solve it. Problem comes up, solve it. And that's like, as long as it's like manageable and like the people, if you have people around you that are like happy and enjoy what they're doing, like it's so much easier to handle stressful situations. And especially being like a leader in something like that, like it feels good to be able to get into something that's going to be like difficult and stressful for everyone, but be able to kind of like keep it cool and keep it positive. That's I think my biggest mission is to just keep it positive. Like if things are hard now, like fixing them is going to feel so good.
Do you find yourself getting into a leadership role easily, or is that something that you have to kind of climb and work towards?
No, that's kind of something that I've always had, and I get that from I have a nickname. It's Tiny Sandy. My mom was a powerhouse lady. Like she was a realtor, and she had this networking group that she ran for like 20 years. Like she was very naturally the type of person that would like take care of people around her and like create community. And so I that was like instilled into me at a very, very young age. So I never had a choice in that.
Interesting. All right, we're going to go on break shortly, but before we do, let's take a look at John Stinsman's campaign. Not really his own, but he's had a lot to do with the Evangeline series since that inception. So where does that stand now, John?
Sheesh. I don't know. It's I think
it's ending soon,
70.
correct?
What's that?
It's ending soon?
Oh yeah, it's ending tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night. Okay.
So we're entering into the last 24 hours for the campaign.
Right, can we bring it up, JD, real quickly? So it's at 75,000 right now.
All right,
okay,
went up a little bit since last I saw it.
Good.
That's good.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe they'll take that last big jump to hit another 25% to take it over 100.
I mean, that would be insane, but yeah, that'd be cool as hell.
Right.
Be cool. I mean,
that would be a great way to launch your next project, right?
Yeah.
There you have it. Okay. So if you guys want, go ahead and check that campaign out. Back John's cover on there. His quick brief return to Evangeline. Okay.
I mean, you never know where things might go. I don't have any specific information, but if things go well with the character, it's going to go well for me. So
there you go. Okay. And that's that Evangeline omnibus. All right, so don't go away. We're going to take a short break right now, and when we get back, we'll look at what everybody else. We'll get caught up on the auction board and talk more with Murphy and see what else we have in the claim sales. All right, we'll be right back after this commercial break.
Did you know that Arthur, King of the Britons in Monty Python and the Holy Grail was played by a famous Graham? Check out another famous Graham by following our Instagram.
You love comic books. You collect comic books. But even if you own a rare, expensive issue, it's still a copy. How would you like to own a piece of comic book history? The actual art pages the comics were made from? Oh no, you say. That's too expensive. Regular people can't afford that stuff. Can they? Nick Ferrucci says yes. Join the founder of Dynamite Entertainment for the original art experience on YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook. Incredible art at almost unbelievable prices. Does he have some high-dollar pieces for the high rollers? Sure, but Nick always makes sure to find amazing pieces priced for the fledgling collector. You can collect original comic art. The original art experience. Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Part of the experience.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. Thanks again for joining us here on SketchUp. Don't forget to hit that follow button. Help us increase our followers here so that way we can continue to bring you great programming all week long. And if you want to get in on the giveaways tonight, put in #EXP Damsel, and that will get you in. Okay, so we've got a few claim sales that we've been doing almost every night for the past month. So let's take a look at those now. JD, can you bring those up? Okay, there's our first one. This is a new one. This is Armor from X-Men. That's a 12 by 18 canvas. So if you want to claim that, just go ahead and say claim Armor in the comments. Next. Geisha Assassin Psylocke, same size, 12 by 18 canvas. Shipping is included on this. Next. Geisha Assassin Harlequin. So if you want 2 Geisha Assassins, you can have the 2 right here. And Steampunk Lady Blackhawk on a 12 by 18. Shipping is included. Deja Thoris. These are all 12 by 18, all $200 each. Shipping is included. Okay, all right, let's go around the board once again, see where everybody is at. We do have a bid on John and Jyn's pieces. And here's Ruben with Goblin Queen. Looking for a bit of
Making some
dollars on
progress.
that. On an X-Men #1 sketch cover.
That face is gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's
Thank you.
it's a beautiful
No.
face.
You know, when I was studying about the Goblin Queen,
Yeah.
I found out that she's basically well, she literally is a clone of Jean Grey.
Yeah.
So in a way, you can see it as Goblin Queen is just a bad girl version of Jean Grey. That's really
I don't know. For me, if you've read the Goblin Queen, the way how they brought her in and stuff, and how she's gotten thrown around, she really wasn't. To me, she wasn't treated right. And so I can't blame her for like how she is. But that's like a whole other topic there.
But no, she was created by Mr. Dr. Sinister.
Yeah. Mr.
Yeah.
Sinister.
Is it Doctor or Mr.? Mr. Yeah.
Mr. Sinister.
Yeah, he cloned Jean Grey for to literally create a bad version of her. So that was
Right.
her sole purpose.
Nothing wrong with that, but I'm talking about like how they treated the character.
Oh, you mean like the writers?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought
it's like she was a character that they didn't really care much about, and she kind of got tossed around.
I think they
let's take a look at Jyn with her first piece. Look at that!
Look at that pen.
Beautiful.
It's a lot of progress.
Beautiful.
A lot of colors on there. Look at the eyes.
Yeah.
It's got a little bit of a glitter gel on it too.
Eyes.
They kind of look like your eyes, Jyn. Kind of have that soft look to it.
Can we see
I wish mine were that big.
Wait, do you want big eyes? No.
No, they're tiny.
Yeah.
No, trust me, no.
They're nice though. Okay. All right, let's take a look at John. Let's see what John's got going on. All right, this already has a bit of 65.
Oh, wow.
Looking for 70 or better. Jungle Girl.
I
can't wait to
Yep.
see.
Hey, that actually, if I'm going to put a name to that, that looks like Rima because she's got the white hair. Right now she does anyway.
Right now she does, yes, but not for long.
It can change. Still could go to black,
Yeah.
blonde, brunette. Yeah. Okay, last but not least, Mog. Wow.
Yes, sir. So.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh.
A lot going on there. Looking for a bid of $50. If anybody wants to place a bid on that,
yeah,
go ahead and do so in the comments. And get back on here and take a look. Okay, Ilya placed a bid of 69 on Jyn's piece.
Thank you.
Nice.
Very good. I'm going to get that down here. Thank you for that, Ilya. What do you mean, Ilya? You don't like that glove and sword? Oh, okay, I get it now.
The assassin canvas.
All right. I thought you meant that in a bad way, but okay. And we are okay. Okay. All right. So Murph, what are you keeping up your con appearances, or have you backed down on that? How's that for you?
So the Alaska convention that I went to,
you went to the Antarctic one, or the one in Alaska?
The Arctic Comic Con. So that was actually my first ever convention that I did as myself.
Okay.
And it was I had so much going on with like Kickstarters and Shopify, and I'm like partnering up with my local comic shop and doing some stuff with them that I didn't even think of the fact that I don't have a banner. Like I did maybe for 6 years, and it was just something like we always had that, and it was like 2 days before I was leaving, and I'm like, crap, where can I get a banner printed in 2 days? But it went really well. It felt great. People were buying the books, and I have the Death Rage here. I've got some of the Death Rage trade paperbacks that a lot of people were picking up. I absolutely love how this book came out. And so it went really well. So I'm signed on for Chicago Fan Expo. There's a couple other conventions that I'm trying to get into. But I think next year I'm going to start, especially next year once I'll have like at least two actual issues, to sell, and not just like buy this preview. I think I'm gonna kick it up and try to do like maybe like one a month, if that's plausible. We'll see. I lived on the road doing conventions. I would do 25 to 30 conventions a year for 6 years, and I could never ever go back to doing that again. I'm like my knees hurt now, and like I can't, like driving 25 hours to San Diego like sounds like hell. Like I will not go back to that, but I definitely want to do some.
We're doing about 15 a year, and I'm trying to cut down, and my knees are hurting. And
Sure.
there are shows now. I'm telling you, Mog, you're gonna have to do this one on your own. I don't want to go.
Well, it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because the only reason my knees suck now is because I work at a desk and I can't stop myself from sitting cross-legged all the time. I was fine before.
Wait, so you sit cross-legged and that makes your knees hurt now?
Yeah, if I have like a really intense day, like especially if it's a Kickstarter launch day and I'm just in like tunnel vision, I sit I'll just sit all day and I won't move, and my when I go to stand up, my knee will like I'll like buckle because it's just being
That's so cool. I mean, in an interesting way, because I never met anybody who's actually, a lot of Asians. We have a floor culture, so we sit cross-legged all the time. So even on a chair, we rather like kind of cross our legs, like cross-legged.
Yeah.
And we do that. We don't want to stretch our legs.
Mm-hmm.
So my knees start to hurt a lot, and I think maybe it's because I thought maybe I walk too much, which I don't even. So that makes more sense now.
No, I actually have a funny story about my leg crossing. I started working out like pretty intensely at the beginning of last year, and after a great leg day, I realized like later in the day after being at work that I had like a divot in my thigh, where it was in the muscle, there was just like a little divot, and I couldn't it was a few days. It didn't go away. I got a massage and I asked her, like, she's like, I have no idea. And then about like a week later, I'm sitting at my desk and I look down and I realize that the divot is where my chair arm is pushing against because I worked out and like kind of, you know, when you have a really tough workout on like lifting weights, like your muscles break and then they have to like heal. Well, they healed around my chair arm.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Jeez.
that is very interesting.
And it's still there.
It's so interesting.
Me now.
You know, Murphy, I have the same problem where, you know, you keep working. I guess sometimes you get so lost focused that you, even though your legs fall asleep, you don't notice, you know? And then I know what that means, the thigh is the divot is the armchair is digging into that part of the thigh, right? Yeah. I know what that means. You're like a Asian inside. I don't know. I was like, I have to sit like this.
I'll take that as a badge of honor.
Yeah, I think I could take you back like 100 years in the past, and I'll take you like Korea or Japan, and you're just like, okay, sit on the floor, cross leg, fine. You know, no problem.
I can't do that.
I will say that I'm not an artist now. There's absolutely no way I could spend enough time to ever get to the point of being able to call myself a real artist. But when I was coming up, when I was a kid, I drew all the time, and everything I drew was the big anime eyes. It was all Sailor Moon, Sailor Moon inspired.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a big manga girl when I was in school.
So that's where you get your, because I was gonna say, to do a storytelling, like especially comic, you have to at least get a sense of, especially if you're working as an editor, you have to research a bit, like you have to have some knowledge. So in a way, I'm guessing because you read a lot of manga, that you gain that visual library inside you. Maybe would you consider that helpful?
Oh yeah. Well, so my dad is actually an artist. So I grew up with comics. You know, he did a series in the 90s that he self-published called Template. That years ago when I dug those comics out, I realized that the first page that's like the setting is, it starts on my birthday, which I was like, oh, Dad.
Oh, wow.
He made those comics. He owned a shop in Dallas in the 90s, and then he did another graphic novel series in the 2000s. And then, so, you know, he's what got me into working Comic Cons and like meeting Jamie in the first place. But you know, I started with Archie comics. I would always buy the little, you know, they were like kind of small size, and the checkout, they'd always have one there. And I had I think they're still at my parents' house, but you know, a huge stack of just those Archie comics, the digest. And then I went from that into like, got really, really into manga. And like I've always been reading like some type of, you know, like comic style book. Like that's always been my thing. I do read some novels, but it's just, I'm a visual person. I like to see the artist's vision versus my brain, which will like make things weird sometimes.
Okay, then since it seems like you don't really have much time because you have so many plates in your work. Do you also then watch read then web manga, like webtoons? I think they're called.
Yeah, webtoons.
So I don't do I kind of, my comic reading habit really died down. My reading habit in general died down a lot. Especially when we were in like the peak popularity of the Marvel movies. I've been, you know, I spent the last couple of years, especially once I started making comics, it was like, well, I got to read comics too. And I read mostly a lot of like independent stuff. I'm a huge Tank Girl fan, so that's kind of always been, if I was reading something, it would be that. Saga, I think, was the only thing that I actually read continuously for a good couple of years. But now I've found that I really, if I don't have the time or the focus to be able to sit down and read, I've found really enjoying like review shows, like Comic Tom and the Comic Book Network has like a great line of podcasts. So I tend to get my catching up on like that kind of media through like listening. But when it comes to my own enjoyment, I'm the big like binge watcher. That's how I spend my hobby time.
Interesting. That you know, the more I listen to you talk, I feel like I'm listening to a female version of Mel. I'm serious. Because first of all, both of you guys, I don't know if you noticed it, is you always have like the date. Whenever you tell a story, you start with some kind of date or a timeline, and then you talk about the location and the name, like the name of the person. So if it's an event at this con, you would say that con name, this timeline, and then there's a progression from beginning, middle, and end. It's like those facts are like thrown out. So in a way, it's like incredible that you can remember things. I'm guessing you don't really get lost. Like when you go someplace, like first time, second time, you're like, oh, okay, all right. And then I drop you again.
I'll
like,
never
all right.
be able to tell you the street, but I can tell you the store that's on the corner.
Yeah, something like that. Like it's kind of amazing.
I'm not really that good with dates, I don't think.
No, but then every time you guys talk about, like for example, you, Mel, like you say, okay, we're gonna have this event on this month, this date, this month, this date.
Okay,
like
yeah,
it's
that.
insane. Like what is going on?
Because I do have to keep
even
track
like
of the schedule.
Murphy, did you notice she just said, oh, when I talk about comic, like, hey, what kind of did you read this? And she started like, since I was this, I read this. It was at this time, it was Archie's, and then at this time it was this, and during the Marvel time it was this. It's like a date and a product.
Yeah, I think I think about stuff in eras for sure.
Yeah,
that's
it's
it. And
incredible.
that's how I do it too. During the 90s, this is what I like. During the 80s, this is what I like. 70s, this is what I like.
But that's a byproduct of an incredible ability to manage people or manage a project, because it's like you think in timeline, right? So you're like, okay, at this time you're gonna get this done. At this time you're gonna get this done. It's like what?
I'm laughing at Ilya. He wrote, "Mel isn't good with dates."
No, Ilya, he's very good with dates.
Well, that's actually kind of interesting, because I am really good at like keeping things organized in my head, but I'm really bad. I was really bad at like letting anyone else in on that. So that's a skill that I had to learn when it came to like managing teams. Is like I can't just keep all that stuff in my brain. I need to somehow in a way that will be like accessible and understandable to other people. They need to know everything that's in here. So
that's exactly like Mel.
That's why I have a spreadsheet. But somehow John slipped that spreadsheet.
Yeah, but this is what the thing is. I think you both have this thing where you guys don't really like all those detail. It can very frustrate you, because it means like you have to write everything down, spreadsheet, all that stuff. You would prefer you wouldn't do that, but you guys have an incredible ability to be very time conscious. And also, I noticed the way you were talking about helping this person create a project, finish the project, all of that. Both of you guys have a don't get too cocky, but manifestation ability, where if somebody has like, oh, I kind of want to do this, like, all right, let's make it happen. Do this, like you have the blueprint. I'll help you finish the project. I'll make it come true. It's a very incredibly rare ability, and you guys and Murphy, you have that. Sounds, and also networking. You love like networking and connecting people.
Where there's a will, there's
don't
a
burn
way.
bridges, all kinds of stuff. Also, fun fact, guys, for anybody listening, I actually just realized as she was talking, I'm terrible with faces. Sorry, Murphy, but I actually know her. We met her, and she was the one who said, "Oh, do this White Widow with Jamie Tyndall," and I got to the cover for it, which was never used, but it's okay because I got paid. So she tried to connect me again. She has a magical ability, so I owe you for that. Thank you, Murphy.
I do. I remember meeting you in Chicago.
By the way, yes, see, she just said it again, Chicago. I'm like, I don't even know what location it was. She just knows. And
I remember because that was it wasn't the big Chicago show. It was the one that was in like Rosemont, and I had never been there before, and I got super lost, and I was late, and I rolled in, and I just felt like I was being so unprofessional. And then you were so nice to me.
What? I remember. All I know is that there was this really pretty young lady. I think she was across me. You were across me, right?
I think so.
You had this like red lipstick. It's like, wow, she looks really good in lipstick. That's all I kind of remember. Do you use the red lipstick occasionally? Because you should.
I got into the really bad habit of not wearing much makeup. And so now it's like kind of what you see now is generally the most that I tend to do, except for maybe like some eyeliner. But when I do things like conventions, like that's always my go-to. I was like the especially since I dyed my hair back dark, the dark hair and the red lip, like it's just such a classic look.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You kind of got it too with the dark hair, the dark sweater, the red glasses.
That's just nature. But except for the red lipstick. But the thing is, guys, just anybody who's listening, Murphy is an incredible sales lady. Like I was like, what the heck? I'll just watch her, and she was just, she has this incredible ability to talk to you, and she's not pushy. It's not even a hard sell. She's like, hey, and it's like an informative, and it's very like energetic, and also she knows how to control the energy because she would read people like, okay, you seem more like a quiet person, so I'm not gonna yell at you. But if you seem more excitable, I'm going to do this. If you want to be quiet, I'll be quiet. But somehow she's just so good with people. So, yeah.
So she's good at reading the people.
Yeah, she's really good.
And matching, coming to their level.
Yeah. So
it can be kind of a curse sometimes. Like if I am around someone with an accent, I have to like keep very control of myself because I'll just start slipping into the accent. It's something that like people, if someone has a natural sales ability, it means that most of the time it means that they kind of have an innate ability to mirror people.
Oh, that's actually interesting. You're right.
Are you looking to attain any more jobs, Murphy? Do you have enough energy to take on another role?
Yes.
Oh God, what are you hiring for?
I'm not. I'm just kind of curious because, like Mog's bringing this up, and I had mentioned earlier that you do have like a lot of energy, and so I'm just trying to see like how much more have you got?
Can I ask you something? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna ask you if you want similar to Mel in a way where you can't go far more than 5 or 6 hours of sleep for some reason. Your eyes just blink open, and you're like, okay, I gotta do this and this and that. Maybe 5 hours 6 hours is like when you really have a good sleep, but average maybe 4 or 5 hours. Is that how you are?
So I'm not usually, or at least I wasn't until recently, the person that would just wake up and be awake. My problem was always I could not, like, I always had insomnia.
Yeah.
So when I mentioned earlier that I was watching Shrek 2, the reason for that is that I learned when I was like 13 that if I just put the same thing on the TV every night, that eventually I would like memorize it and I wouldn't have to like really listen to it, but then it was still something that I could like listen to and that would help me fall asleep. So that's kind of something that like that I still do to this day. I have a few, probably 10 things that, okay, that one was taken off Netflix. I have to go back to this one now that I put on at night that helped me go to sleep. And so that's kind of like helped me get to that point. I'm still going to sleep at like 1 or 2 a.m. So I get like 6 hours usually if I've got stuff going on, which at this point I always do. But it's definitely not like about once a month I have a day where I just sleep until like 4 o'clock just because my body's like, you're done.
Yeah. So you are like Mel, where you have to sleep maximum 6. Like he's exactly like that. He can't go to sleep until he just turns something on that he rewatched 1,000 times. And for him right now, it's Ancient Aliens. But what about you? What did you watch yesterday?
So I have one that has been a constant for me, which is the other Boleyn girl.
What? The other what? Bully?
The
Oh,
other
the one
Boleyn
with
girl.
the.
That's
Isn't that
actually
one
that's pretty good. I've
So
seen that a couple
there's
times.
there's like certain things. So it's like you want something that is not super loud. Like it's
Yep.
not. It doesn't have like random like loud noises. You want
Yeah.
something that is like, you know, has like good dialogue and like kind of like nice music, and then just something that I enjoy. You know, something that I can put on and watch and rewatch. So. The other Boleyn girl, every time it comes onto Netflix, it's on every night until it goes away. Downton Abbey has been another one.
Oh my gosh.
Like I said, it was Shrek 2 for like years when I was younger, and it had just a VHS player in my room. The odd one out was Don't Look Up, but that was because I just really, really like that movie.
Ah, I heard that's good. I should watch that.
I have to fall asleep to Seinfeld every night. It's been
Oh,
like that
Seinfeld's
for
so good.
years and years now.
You need
Because
to
me
laugh.
too.
I have it so like ingrained in my head. I don't have to look at it. I can repeat every word 1,000 times over, and it just like puts me
Oh.
into this relaxed, comfortable state where I feel all cozy and warm. And next day I'm asleep.
Well, that's good because like you feel like it's your friends that are there. Like that's kind of comforting.
Yeah, it's like a third party sort of to the conversation. You're just kind of listening.
But this is the funny thing, Murphy, and I'm wondering if you're the same, even John. Even though you guys might have watched it 1,000 times or 2,000 times, especially if it's a TV series,
Mm-hmm.
when you rewatch it, you're like, oh, I don't think I've watched it before. It's like the memory of it is not crystallized. Because for me, I would watch it once or even twice, and I know exactly what episode, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'll be I'm thinking, dude, you watched this. You know, I have to tell him, like, every time I put on a new movie, he thinks it's a new movie, but he watched it. You watched this 5 years ago. Why are we watching this again? Like, sometimes the detail memory is so bad. Oh, do you guys
So
do
it's
that
like,
where
so
you're like,
you want to watch something one time, then you're like, all right, done, never again.
yes.
This must be a point of contention for you guys.
No, actually, no. If I like something, like John, the Seinfeld or something, I'll
Yeah.
rewatch it. I'll have it like not rewatch it. It's like I have played it in the background, and I'm just
Right,
kinda
yeah.
going, yeah. But I can't remember everything. And I don't mind because it's good. I'm like, yes, please unfold this, you know. But I noticed with Mel, it's like every day is a new world. Like, wow, this is cool. What the heck happened? You're so good with dates, names, people, locations. When it comes to like entertainment trivia, it's like the mind went out. Like, it's amazing. I wonder if you're like that, Murphy.
I love trivia, but I'm awful at it. But that's also I'm really bad at like I forget words all the time. Like I also have a problem of like I have this like face blindness with people where there's been so many times that I'd see somebody and I'd be like, that's this, oh, that's the actor from this. And someone would be like, no, it's not. And I'm like, I am so sure. This happened yesterday. Someone said Jean Hart, and I looked her up. I'm like, oh, it's Samantha from Sex and the City, and they're like, no, it's not. And I'm like, okay. And I look it up, and I'm like, okay.
Just Mel. That's like carbon copy of Mel.
That's why I was kind of like laughing, man. I don't want to.
And then the thing is, they'll never listen to you. The other person can be blue in the face and you're wrong, and they can only fact check on themselves on the thing. Like, oh, okay, yeah, you were right. Like, what the f, man? Am I just a decoration? Like, what's going on?
You sound like my best friend. Her and I get into arguments sometimes where I swear she wants to hit me.
Yeah,
Are you
sometimes
married,
it feels like
Murph?
this genuine rage. Sometimes I'm like, wow, what's going on?
Murph,
dude?
are you married?
No, I'm a progressively single person. I've been in relationships here and there, but most of my adult life has just been. I am very lucky that I hit the roommate jackpot like 3 times. So I met a roommate when I was 18, and we lived together off and on for like up until the last 3 years. And then we had another girl that moved in with us that still was another like lottery winner, that they both moved with me to St. Louis when I moved to go work with Jamie. And then when I moved to Indiana to go do Merc, my Jason, my first roommate, had gotten married, and I was out there with them for like Halloween, I think, and mentioned like, oh, I'm going to be hiring an assistant. And their partner like called up their best friend, was like, you need to get over here right now. And then pretty much brought him over and was just like, hire him. And then that ended up working out great. And then we moved in together, and I brought him back with me to St. Louis. So I feel like a lot of the
that's some incredible luck.
Actually, it is.
No, I'm going to tell you what
Mog
it is.
says that you're a lot like me. How did I luck out?
No, that's not what it is. She thinks it's luck, but it's not luck. It's just that
I know it's
you both
not.
have leader type personalities, so you end up leading their lives. I bet you somehow it was roped in, and they're just your followers, subordinates, and they're like, I'll follow you, leader, because you take care of my life. You have the trajectory for me, so I'll just, whatever you choose, I know it's going to be good. So they just follow
I would disagree with you, but I did just tell you that I convinced 3 different people to move across state lines. So
That's incredible.
Yeah, see, right there. It's like that type of authority, like, hey, I know what it is. But anyway, before anything, go ahead, sorry. Murphy, go ahead.
Well, okay, hold that thought. Okay. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll review the auction board. And if you haven't yet, put in #EXP Damsel, because we'll be doing that giveaway as well. All right? So we'll be right back after this commercial.
According to a statistic that I just made up, people spend 4 hours a day changing the television channel. People who watch The Experience don't do that. Save yourself a ton of time by tuning into The Experience and enjoying our new original programming 7 days a week. And then tell your friends. Think about the money they could save on batteries in the remote alone just by tuning into The Experience. Find out more by scanning the QR code below.
By this time in our journey, we had been on the trail of a very elusive creature for about 96 hours. But all the hard work is about to pay off. Oh, crikey, there she is. Oh, by the markings, I'd say this one's at least a 9.8. Oh, she's a real beauty. A true mint copy. Oh, this one would make a fine slab on anyone's display wall. Oh, she's a feisty one, though. Look out, look out!
Mint Hunter Comics is the place to find that mint comic you've been searching for. Mint Hunter Comics, Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, part of The Experience.
All right, #EXP Damsel. Put that into the comments to qualify you in for our free giveaways coming up momentarily. Let's take a look around the block to see what we have on the auction board, starting with Mr. John Stinsman. There it is. Tony has a bid of 65. We are looking for the next bid of 70.
John, John dropped out for a second. I think his mic went out again when we did the commercial.
Oh,
I was
okay.
gonna make fun, like, hey,
All
hi,
right, so
my
we have
name's
Mog.
John.
So we are looking. Oh, there's John. Okay, we got
I'm
Mog
back.
here. And if we can see your piece, John.
Oh yeah.
Boom.
Oh, wow.
She's blonde.
That's right. I didn't do the
I take
bottom
it
half.
back.
It's not going to look like that. It's going to look
I
like
take it
the top.
back, John.
All right, yeah, he's still working on that part
You're-
there. Okay. That current has a bid of 65, and as I said, we are looking for the next bid of 70 on that. All right, let's go to Jyn, who's doing her first colored piece on the show. Look at that.
Very
On
nice.
nice tonal paper.
It's very mermaidy for sure.
Yeah.
Like Disney, a little bit
She's
Disney.
doing it right for
mermaidy.
Mermaid. If you want that, current bid on that is from Ilya at 69. We are looking for the next bid of 75. And Mog's number there is 69. So Ilya got it in. I think he loves that number too. He constantly puts that bid in. And here's Ruben, Goblin Queen, on a X-Men 1
Oh, hell yeah.
sketch cover.
Well,
Nice
Ruben,
lighting.
dude,
Well done.
you like upgraded.
Thank
you.
Kind of looks like a Hollywood diva. All right. So we are looking for a opening bid on that still for $50.
Yeah, so
And
I'll
go ahead and put that into the comments.
I'll disclose my reference. Somebody I've gotten to spend a good amount of time with. So, like you guys were commenting earlier on how like Jyn, certain features on her art looked like her. I think it's because we get used to looking at someone's features.
I see.
And so what I've been doing recently, something that's been working pretty well. I've been using Raichi, Faces by Raichi's likeness.
When you started saying that, and then when you said that, and then I looked at it, oh yeah, that's Raichi.
Yes, I've been cheating like that for a little bit.
Nice.
Hey,
Nice.
good reference to use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you saying, Ruben, the more beautiful you are, the more beautiful your artwork's going to be? The character?
Yeah, well, I
You said they
mean,
look like you?
like there's certain artists that, if they have, if you look, or if you compare their art to their significant others, like their wives, you'll see a lot of very similar features. It's kind of a common thing to look at models for reference for our art.
Yeah.
I'm not saying across the board, but a lot of artists will do that. So
yeah.
I used to have people would come up to me when I was working Jamie's booth, and they'd come up and be like, "Women don't look like this." I'd be like, "Actually, Jamie's wife is exactly like."
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that. I like your answer.
If they knew. Yeah, if they know.
My answer would go, hey, don't you know artistic interpretation? Do you want a photo? That's me, but yeah.
Philip here is sitting next to me, and he goes, "Is that why Mog's faces look like Mel's?"
Yeah. I was like, please don't say that. Especially when I do angry faces.
I was
I
gonna
don't
say
think
on
I
this
open
one,
my
Mog,
mouth up
if you were
like that all
channeling
the
some
time.
anger from
Like-
earlier in the
Because when
day.
Mel gets angry, it's like the end world, the end game. So watch out.
Let's see, we looked at Ruben. Okay, we looked at Ruben, Jyn's. Did I miss someone? Did I go around the board right, or am I missing
I
anybody?
think so. I think
did,
you,
but
I mean,
then-
you didn't miss anything. You're good. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, and
Oh, I do have a question. Murphy, I'm sorry if I didn't catch the story, Damsel. What is Damsel the story and the character about?
Yeah, so Damsel is, like I said earlier, it is a dark comedy fantasy that is inspired by Monty Python and Tim Burton. So the premise of the world is that there are these fantasy tropes that are, from fairy tales or from Arthurian tales that you see across tons of different stories and media. And so in this world, they're not just tropes, they're actually the law, they're the rules. And so, for instance, when a princess is born to a king and a queen, she is taken by a keeper, and then she is put into a tower. And then she is to wait there for 18 years, and she'll learn, she's taken care of by her keeper. And then 18 years later, an assigned prince will go on a damsel in distress extraction, TM. So the question is, what happens when he doesn't come? And what happens when the keeper is not following the rules of this new world, and they are indeed still a witch and they're evil? And so I play around a lot with, and when I say with Monty Python style, it's taking those tropes and like flipping them on their head. So we're taking a world where all of these things that were dangerous in classic fairy tales are now, they're safe, and you can still have adventure, but it's safe. And you can still find love, but it's assigned. And it's taking that and then throwing it back at itself. I've had one of the pages that I've gotten a lot of great response from, and I think really kind of gives the story. It's just a great example of kind of what this series is going to be like. Is this page here? So this is inspired by my first comic love, Tank Girl, along with just kind of like satirical comedy. So this is the prince going on to rescue his princess, but he's got the hold on, I've got it. The all-new Silver Stallion SE, 200 pure bred power, self-driving, Songbird stereo, luxury comfort.
Sounds like the new car.
Exactly. That is exactly the whole thing. I told them I was make it look like a new car ad.
That's why you, when I heard you talk about how you came up with the process, you ended up doing a lot of world building, and that's exactly a detail of a world building. And what I love about what you, the feeling I'm getting from your storyline, different from all the other ones, even though it's like, for example, Fables was a retelling of a known like fairy tales, right? But you're taking finally, it's like so refreshing to see. Finally somebody is taking a comedic turn in something satirical and comedic, almost a little bit like Terry Pratchett style. I don't know if you read that book, but very Monty Python for sure. Also, it's just similar to Terry Pratchett's.
In the comments, it's sort of like Venture Bros, and that is definitely
yes,
like Venture Bros, The Boys, Invincible, like and Merc had a lot of that kind of inspiration too, where it's taking something that has been done forever in comics, which is superheroes, and putting it into reality, and like what does that look like? And with The Boys, it's hyper violent and awful. And one of the tropes that is kind of like lesser known or like not really noticed is the useless prince, and how in a lot of stories, like the main character, the prince, is always kind of like clumsy or dumb. Is kind of the thing that goes with a lot. So not only am I trying to get the damsel in distress kind of flipped, but I also want to flip that prince character of like he's not strong and dumb. He has his own things, like he's bookish and he's smart and he's he just doesn't he doesn't want to follow that line. And so I really want to, it's not just taking the damsel and having her rescue herself, it's also taking this prince that is told this is what he must be, and him also kind of finding his own way.
Wow.
That almost
all right,
very
if you guys
similar.
want to get on that, you can get to the link in the comments. JD can post that up again. And don't forget that if you do win anything on the show, please fill out the magic form, so that way we know who to send it to. Okay, so we had most of you guys have been doing that pretty well lately. I did have one last week that where it wasn't filled, so I'm not sure like where that's going. I didn't see him here tonight. Okay, and like I said earlier, I will be getting caught up on the shipping this coming week. and I will have everything mailed off before we leave for Phoenix.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Stevie B. I kind of had a question about that. Okay, but I got it verified now. So yeah, I will reach you. I'll get in touch with you after the show.
Yeah, and also Derek, good choice on. You said that something about you never been on Jyn's. Yeah, Jyn. So great. Thank you for doing that. Yeah. Wow, you must have like have all the systems in the place where you're in your head, like even the traffic laws and everything. I wonder how detailed your world building is. Back to Murphy. But
it's the world itself. Well, see, that's kind of the nice thing about doing a like satirical story that's based in worlds that already exist is a lot of the world's already built. I get to go in and fuck with it.
Exactly.
Sorry, I get to go in and mess with it.
Yeah.
And that seems to be like what. Yeah, and it's interesting to see and do if you can do it right. But there's some I think that's just kind of like overdone. But you are taking something that hasn't been done too much, so I'm glad to see that. And from what I've heard so far, like it really sounds interesting.
So the main
get a copy for ourselves.
So the main character is the damsel, the princess, right? 18 years. So what is she? She like turns out she's a total man warrior. Like what is she? Does she retain her lady like?
The character that I hadn't mentioned yet, and so this is kind of when I was talking before. So the story opens up with some exposition about kind of how we got to be in this world, and about how man and wizards partnered to take the monsters of the world, the witches, the werewolves, the dragons, like all of these classic monsters, and they found a way to control them. And so instead of there being witches and like all of these, they were given a choice to obey or die, pretty much. And so the ones that decide to obey and to live and to be a part of the law, they are now called keepers. So that's all these different tropes you can look at are like almost like events or like amusement park that you can go to. Like you can go to the Witch in the Wood and go through and like it's like a fun thing to take your kids to instead of it being a terrifying situation where you're probably going to be pushed into an oven. And so in the premise of this is that she's taken to this tower, but her keeper is not as they should be. And so they have the they still have magic, and so this is the witch. And you're going to see as her and the prince travel back to the kingdom, this witch was not letting her go, and they're going to follow, and there's going to be some increasingly awful things that happen as they get further and further away from the tower that she had her in. And there's going to be a reveal at the end of issue number 1 that shows like, or she's coming across really happy and he's here, like my prince, I've been waiting, like she's all very like Disney princess and then I'm gonna give a snapshot that shows like, I don't know if I want to do a spoiler here. I don't know if you guys care. I'm okay with it, but I'll just say that I really enjoy playing with psychology, and
that's what it sounds like. It sounds like you're taking everybody down this one road, and then you're gonna turn it on them.
Yeah, but
it's not what you think, guys.
Your whole story is almost like a reflection of you, and is also Mel. Is you guys love to learn the system, but you could care less if the system doesn't fit your goal of efficiency and outcomes. So it's almost like, hey, here's a system, and I think it's better if it's done this way. So again, it's like a managerial type of.
Being
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. But we're already confirmed for Chicago, so we will see you there again in Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah, so that would be great. All right, guys.
Chicago
We got about like 6 more minutes for the show. So go ahead and if you're gonna start a bid war, now's the time to do it. And if you haven't yet, put in #EXP Damsel, because we are going to start the giveaways. First up, we are going to do a Louis Bravo bookmark. And JD's going to show that up there. Okay. Harley Quinn. All right, so go ahead and roll it, JD. And let's see who our winner is for tonight. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. There's some new people we see on there. Kenneth Bird. Wow.
Woo! Kenneth,
Mr.
you won something.
Bird. First in, first out with a free giveaway. Our next giveaway is going to be this is a limited edition Patriotica that Mog did the cover for for Mount Olympus. Okay. And it doesn't have the numbers on there, but the one that you'll actually be getting will have the number on there for the limited edition one. Okay. So let's go ahead and roll for this. Dun dun dun. Bri.
Wow.
All right, Bri, congratulations. Go ahead and make sure you fill out that form so we can get that information from you. And we will be sending out that out next week. You should get it before the weekend of next week. And for the grand prize tonight on the free giveaways, the Damsel Preview Edition with the John Royal cover on there. Beautiful cover.
Oh, so
19 of 20.
And it's this.
Giving
She's
away the
giving away a
foil.
shiny one, guys.
Only 20 made.
Yep.
Wow. There you go.
Oh.
Oh, beautiful.
Let's go ahead and roll that.
Ding, ding, ding,
Oh, I
ding.
forgot to put in my own #EXP Damsel. And the lucky winner is
Me, what number?
One, number one.
Wow.
Okay. All right, like I said, don't forget to fill out that magic form.
I
And
wonder.
let me know if you want it signed.
Oh, please.
There you go. If you want it signed, let her know.
Yeah.
Silver.
Yeah.
And if
You
you
know-
don't want it, just say so. She'll send it to us.
Yes, we'll take it. We'll take it.
Okay.
We will claim it instead.
All right. There you go. We have that.
But Mel.
Yeah.
Mel. So
Yes.
if you were stuck in a tower for 18 years, I mean,
Uh-huh.
it is a big tower. You have many floors and it's roomy probably.
Uh-huh.
Would you be happy or would you try to escape?
It does have a really nice library.
Yeah. It's got food, everything.
You know,
It's
if I
all
had
built
something
in.
like Netflix or something like that, yeah, I think I'd be fine.
Really? From when you were young? Oh.
Or when I was young, no, I was when I was young,
You
I
go
was always
crazy.
outside.
Yeah,
My mom
you would
hated
go
that.
crazy. Yeah.
They'd always tell me, you know, be home
Yeah.
early.
You're the first one
I was
out.
never home early.
Yeah. But I'm
I
gonna.
like the dark.
But I have a
That's
confession: is if I was that princess, you'd have to kick me out. I'm such a funny. When you said 18 years, I was like, oh, that sounds like paradise. Everything is there. It's like you got a library. You just have to go out. It's perfect.
All right, so we got a couple more minutes. Currently, we have Stevie B, $50 on Mog's Damsel, $75 from Derek on Mermaid Miss Mew,
Oh.
and Mike A.
Awesome.
Asbill has been holding the bid on the Jungle Girl at 65.
Mhm.
And Derek Neiman just put in the last bid on Goblin Queen, just couldn't let that go at
Yes.
$50. So you guys got that all in. Thanks
Nice.
again for you guys' love and support and supporting the artists and joining us with our special guest here, Murphy. We had a wonderful time, and we definitely want to have you back and keep track. We still have these claims up here. This is Armor at 12 by 18. If you want that, you can put it in the claim or message us, and we can have that available. A couple Geisha Assassins there. Okay. Steampunk Lady Blackhawk. That is digitally colored. Same thing with the Deja Taurus. There you go, guys. Join us Next week, we will have a special edition of the show. It is the Hollywood Square 9 Art Jam, which will be hosted, since we won't be here, that's going to be hosted by our good friend Sean Lanahan. But joining him, Trish Forster will be there. Cat Mouse, we're going to have her back for a second time, will be there. Fish Lee, another good guy. We got a newcomer, up-and-comer. Nobody knows him, but we're bringing him in out here. Anthony Paz will be there. And then we got these local favorites, Erwin Papa, June Alvarado, Philip McVan, and Nathaniel Oslo. And then one more thing. We have a special episode on June 6th. That's going to be our Ancient Aliens Art Jam. We'll be talking Ancient Aliens, and we'll be drawing aliens. All right, so if you want to make a note of that in your calendar. But the lineup is incredible. Okay, we listen to this. We got Bill Mouse, Granda C, Drew Moss, John Stinsman will be back, Trish Forstner, Connie Jolitz, Drew Gutierrez. So I've pulled people in from Hawaii, West Coast, and East Coast, and South America, so that way we can get a view on all this. Okay?
Is John just finding out about this one?
Yeah, and Murphy, if you want to come back on that episode, we'll get you in there. Okay.
I don't know,
All right,
Murphy, are you in? Do you like aliens?
I used to watch Ancient Aliens all the time.
All right. Okay. All right. Anyway, that's our show. Thanks again for joining us. We will see you guys next week and the week after. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Bye, everybody.
Download our app on Google Play and the App Store. It's so simple, even my mommy can use it.